Hello, and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we come on every Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. in order to ignite our magic, our abracadabra moments, so that we can become who we were created to be intentional with our promise, with our purpose. Hey, boo! Good afternoon, Melissa. How are you today? Let me get this bracelet on. But yes, I'm hoping that you guys are, stop. That was my alarm. I hope you guys are really enjoying the holiday energy of Thanksgiving. I mean, I think now is really, this above, I think, any and every Thanksgiving that we have experienced to date, that this would be one of the most intentional, the most I think there's so much for us to find gratefulness in this season, in this year, in this pandemic, just with our realities of what we are experiencing, what we've been facing. Just what are we thankful for at this time? What are we appreciative of at this time? What are our advantage points at this time? A lot of times I often say we must always go from our advantage point and not our disadvantage point. So it's really about us being able to say, where are we? What are we doing in this time? How are we dealing with the new idea of Thanksgiving? Are we being intentional about the restrictions that we are in right now? I think one of our biggest problems is us being able to renew our minds, to change how we are used to stuff in order to make sure that we're taking the best care of ourselves. I think we get so used to tradition sometimes that it can become a backfire depending on the moment that you're in. And so the more I'm looking at the news and, hearing about the pandemic cases just skyrocketing, how we are beginning to start operating in new restrictions, it just got me really thinking about how hard it is for us to really change, to really travel in life. The changes that are required in this Thanksgiving, the changes that have been required during this pandemic, it's almost like we refuse to adjust to what we see. We refuse to adjust what may even be beneficial to our health, to our livelihood, just to who we are. And so, it really got me thinking on this day. What are we doing? How are we thinking? How good are we at being transformed, adjusting? How stuck are we in our ways? And what is the hindrance on how we are dealing? What is the hindrance on how we're moving, how we're growing, how we're getting past in this season? What precautions are we taking? What new rules have been set in your house, just to be able to acknowledge where we are and really be proactive and being a part of the solution. I think we are easy and eager to find problems, but maybe not as easy and eager to solve those problems, to find solutions, to say, well, maybe we should do it different because we are dealing with something different. Like, how many of us are willing to be visionaries in this time? I think we need a whole lot of visionaries in this time. Were you saying something yesterday about Chef Ron doing catering for the holiday? Absolutely. All sales, but requests must go in by midnight today. He posted it. I posted it. He's doing half pans for $30, full pans for $50. Smoked turkey or fried turkey are $35. Unfortunately, only locally Charlotte. So if you happen to be in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and you are interested, you can actually, let me put what you can do. $ Ron Paulin. That is his cash app. Hey, William. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so yeah. That one, that's Rondella's Cash App, Ron Paulin. If you want to buy a smoked turkey, it is $35. If you want to buy a fried turkey, it is $35. If you want a small pan of anything, mac and cheese, greens, cabbage, chicken, the small pan is $30, and the large pan is $50. So you can decide whatever dish, whether it's yams, everything's made from scratch, homemade. And so you can definitely know that you're getting some home care cook. So you have until midnight. If there's something that you would like to take off of your list, maybe you want him to do 4 dishes, it doesn't matter. We are in business. We are entrepreneurs. And so at this time, every investment goes far over here. Let me tell you. So where we at? We are 7 minutes in. Today's topic, let's be clear. Today's topic I use on my calendar. And let me see. What is today's day on the calendar? Is the 24th. And it says, God said, I broke you to build you. So that's our topic today. God said, I broke you to build you. And so we know we don't start the topic into the 15-minute hour, but I do want to ask you, what are your plans for this Thanksgiving? Are you traveling? Are you staying home? Are you actually cooking for the first time? How many of us are cooking for the first time? Not me, of course. I'm just raising my hand, as you know, as I'm celebrating with your first timers. But how many people are cooking? So I started to think about different fun things that maybe you can create in this season. I'll keep Rondell's thing up there in case anybody wants to message me. You can message me or Ron Paulin and Messenger if you would like to know if there's a particular dish you want, if he makes it, if it's not on that flyer that I actually have on my page, where it tells you the most normal sides of Thanksgiving. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that's on your list, trust me, we got some things on our list that is not Thanksgiving food. So just reach out to us and he'll let you know if he can do it in this short time. But everything that's on there, mac and cheese, greens, all of those different cabbage, all those things he is have and is prepared to actually follow through with that. But anyway, moving right along, I wanted to ask, what are you guys doing with Thanksgiving in this season? So like I was saying, are you traveling? Are you actually, what I was saying I'm definitely going to do, we're going to go live. And so, why does it smell like something is burning? Give me a second. Oh, yeah, somebody somebody down there cooking? Okay, my bad. Somebody's using the air fryer. Anyway, telling you. You gotta check in, right? You can't be too distracted. But seriously, I was thinking, definitely on Thanksgiving, I'm going to go live. I know we have the Become Your Magic Power Hour at 12. And so I guess I'm going to, definitely decided there's no need for me not to go live. I mean, hell, we're home. So I'm definitely going to go live from the kitchen. So I'm sure we'll be in the middle of cooking and creating. And so if anybody else is actually cooking on Thanksgiving, I love this StreamYard platform. It allows me to reach out to you anywhere in the world. So if you happen to be seeing this replay, or you happen to be watching it right now, and you would like to join in on Thursday, on the Become Your Magic Power Hour, and join Perspective with the Paulins, we'll be in the kitchen, one bite with the Paulins at that time, but basically cooking together. And so for so many people that are used to spending this time together, perhaps living, being in the same space under the same roof, I think we are dealing with, as I've been saying time and time again, we're dealing with quality over quantity. And so in this season, maybe we can take advantage of Zoom. We've been doing it in the office, but maybe we can, and we've been having parties, birthday parties, funerals. So maybe on Zoom, maybe all the family that is used to traveling, because the numbers are rising drastically, so much so that they're now going back to where we was in the beginning, where they're putting in new restrictions, where you can't have more than 6 people at an event, and the traveling. And they just said today on the news that the bars are now closing again. Like, after today, there will be no more drinking and bars open. And so we're going back to where we were in the beginning, and it's because we haven't really accepted enough to do the necessary work so that we can fix the problem. And I think that is the system that we get caught in, getting used to what we're used to, not being willing to actually be proactive in changing it and doing something different, and trying something different. But a fun way to enjoy this time and not look at the cup as half empty. Like, instead of being in this season and saying, you know what, the pandemic is stealing everything from me. I haven't been able to celebrate my birthday, and now I'm used to going home for the holidays, and I can't go home. It doesn't mean that it stops. It means that you have to reinvent the wheel. It means that you must seize whatever that energy is that you're missing. So just because you can't travel home, as a matter of fact, if we are all adults, we should be beginning to build homes at home. We should be beginning to have that foundation at our sanctuaries. And so perhaps it's maybe the first year that you learn how to make your first turkey, that you go on Zoom and you wake up and, you be intentional, right? You might have to do a little bit more than you did last year, but sometimes that's what life is all about, being willing to add more to extract that same love, that same energy. And so can you imagine, maybe if it's always 50 of you guys together for Thanksgiving, if you all send out that link, and at a certain time all day you have that link, and whoever's the head of the link can keep it on running. And as people come in, you can speak, you can look at everybody at the house cooking together, you can get recipes, you can start early and cook together and then sit down at the table at the end of the day. So, I mean, there's no excuses why we can't get that love, because God is omnipresent. It's like the internet. I'm with you right now and I'm home. And so life is about seizing the moments, by making them magical. And so I want to give you an idea if you are feeling, a little lost in this season because it's not your normal time. You're feeling a little bit taken aback right now because it's just not what you are used to. You get to create a new reality. You get to create a new experience. And so you can say next year, you remember that year that we couldn't travel and the pandemic was running high, but we were so intentional about being more concerned about making it to next Thanksgiving and having that moment back from last Thanksgiving. So being proactive is planning. God said, write the vision and make it plain. And so taking into account the conditions that you're in right now, and then finding solutions to benefit your reality. And so the reality is the pandemic is running wild. The reality is enough of us have not taken this serious. The reality is we do not know what's next. The reality is normally on Thanksgiving, we get to sit together. We get to be thankful for the travel. But you know what we're finding out is the things that are essential. And life is essential. And love is essential. And love is omnipresent. It travels. You don't have to be in a room to feel love. You don't have to actually be in the room to experience love. You don't actually have to be in a room to experience joy. You can actually be in where you are, and they can be where they are, and we can just talk, and we can enjoy, and we can laugh, and we can still have that quality of life, just maybe not at the quantities that we're used to, maybe not in the same format that we're used to, but we haven't taken the format. Only thing we've changed is the condition of it. And so right now, I want you to know that I know the condition of the world is a little bit crazy and is unpredictable, and and we are all in this season together, not sure of what's next and what we can expect. But what we can do is be proactive in how we offer ourselves, how our impact is. And so I hope that this idea can maybe brighten your day if you're tuned in and you were just in a funk because you're just thinking about how much you think you missed this year. But I say go from the advantage point and not the disadvantage point. You know, there are people who lost loved ones in this season. Be thankful that your whole family is in one piece. There are people who are sick in this season. Be thankful that you have your health. You know, there are people who have taken a big hit. So even if they had the COVID tested, and even if they could get in their car and travel, that maybe they don't have the finances that they had last year. And so I just want people to be willing to understand that you can create joy in any situation if you look at your advantage point and not your disadvantage point. If you look at ways to make your dreams a reality, if you look at other ways to make life work for you, given the current situation and circumstances, is going to allow you to enjoy the quality of life, not get caught up in what you can't do, but creating ways and ideas of doing the things that you want to do. And so let's be intentional in this season. Let's do what's most essential, which is loving on each other. Maybe we can teach those recipes that we've been holding under our arm for so long. You know, teach your daughter how to make that pie because you have the time. You know, teach your son how to bake that turkey because you have the time. You know, give them the most essential things in life, which is love and family and wanting to be in the same room, right? Because that's huge. And so I think that there is so much that we can learn in this season. There is so much that we can be doing in this season. There is so much more impact that we can have in this season if we just would sit down, reevaluate where we are, and then create a plan that is going to honor the positions that we're in, that's going to honor what we want to be tomorrow, that's going to honor the life that we're living right now. And so how do we honor ourselves? We honor ourselves by showing up. We honor ourselves by being creative, and we honor ourselves by staying outside the box. And so without further ado, you know what I realized? I spoke all this time today, and I have not yet shared it. So let me find my live, and then we're going to share, and then we're going to get on at the topic because it doesn't look like anybody have any comments. So I'm just going to quickly find my live because you know me, I am so long-winded. So all that time I did all that talking and then share the live one time. So I'm going to share it into my groups just so they don't find out later. Here we go. And we are done. So thank you, boo. You always get to share. Hey, my smart niece. Holla, beautiful lady. Hello. How are you doing? I shared you. Thank you, my love. And so today, guess what we're going to do today? Today, we are going to talk about God said, I broke you to build you. So if for any of you guys that don't know, I have a calendar. It is 365 days of loving yourself to life. And so today I woke up, I said, well, what will we talk about today? Because I never know from day to day. But I'm always open to finding anything because, you know, I can make a speech out of any sentence if anybody who knows me. But so I'm going to November. So this month, November, is discover your soul beat in order to leave your soul print. One of my favorite sayings. And today is God said, I broke you to build you. I broke you to build you. And you know what? I think it is so right in even this season that we're in right now. Because what I realize is that there are a lot of stuff that is breaking. There's a lot of areas of our lives that we had gotten used to that, you know, are, as we would say, breaking. When we think of something breaking, we think of the structure of it not the same. Just what I spoke about before we got into this. That's why I say God is so intentional. The structure of Thanksgiving as we know it is not the same. And so some people would say that it's broken in this year. It's broken only because it's not functioning in the way that we have normally been used to it functioning. And so when I think about us in this phrase or this saying, God said, I broke you to build you, is because sometimes when something is functioning, sometimes when something goes wrong, everything breaks down. And then you have to stop and sit down and you have to figure out, how do I put this thing back together? How do I, after that loss has taken place, how do I build it back up with just as much power, just as much functionality, just as much impression as I did before? How do I do that? And so when I think about the object of stuff that is broken and then being able to be rebuilt, I think sometimes when you're rebuilding stuff, you remember what you wish you had put in it the first time. You remember what you wish you had did originally, or you start to see, well, as I was working with this thing or dealing with this certain kind of thing, I realized that if I added a little bit of that, or I put a little bit of this, it made the foundation stronger. It made the picture more amazing. It made the structure more profound. And so to be broken is to be pulled apart. It is to be molded. It is to be seen for every intricate part of you that makes you amazing. When you get to see the pieces spread out, you get to see just how much it takes and how much it requires to make it that one entity. And so I think in life, we come as this whole person, but as we're going through life, we tend to get broken. We get broken by maybe those traumas that we deal with. We get broken by relationships. We get broken by words that we misunderstand, right? I love that we always deal with one word conversation with William Brown, because at the end of the day, those words break us. So we get broken by that. We get broken by dreams not accomplished. We get broken by desires not fulfilled. We get broken by us just saying, I desired that, I wanted that, I see that. But guess what? I've been broken, and I'm broken to the point that I don't even see my functionality. I don't even see my worth. I don't see what makes me great. I don't see what makes me profound, because I got broken through that situation. I thought that, well, because that thing knocked me off my square, right? And I fell down. When I fell down, what happened to me? I shattered. I got broke. And, even when I think about the old nursery rhyme, right? Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. It's what life is. Life has a way of breaking us. And people try to come in and they give their insight in order to fix us. But I came to say that God broke us to build us. He broke us to pay attention to the different things that make our functionality so unique. When he broke you, it was so that you can be aware of all your parts. Do you realize that we never appreciate something until it's broken? Because we use it so carelessly, so effortlessly, so freely, because it is functioning in a way that we don't even appreciate all the things that are moving the way they are moving, because we have access to it so freely, so easily, that we don't even see the power in it. And so sometimes we are moving freely in life, and we are broken just for us to stop, stand still, and recognize that I had to take that apart in order to add that to you. I had to break you to build you. I had to allow you to see the parts that were you. See, because I made your end before your beginning. And so when I was sending you through that journey, I was breaking you so that you can extract that certain aroma, that certain function, that certain force, that certain one of a kind design that is you. And so you look like this, but I had to take you through that because I had to break you into position. I had to get you into your promise. I had to let you see your value by seeing just how many things made up you, by you being able to appreciate who you were. So that when you go to put yourself back together, you know the value in the piece. Because if it's that thing that you had all that time and you loved it and you've been using it and you've been using it every day to the point that it's broken. The other day I was laughing because I was downstairs, and as I was downstairs, I looked over at the refrigerator, and we have two mittens that stick to the refrigerator that I got from my uncle. He's a firefighter, and so these are these magnet pot holders and they are tore up. We have had them for years. No matter how much you wash them, they look a mess. But the other day, Big Man looked at the refrigerator and he said, "Man, which one of those gloves do you think is our favorite?" So there was two gloves that were on the refrigerator, and while they both washed, honey, you can tell they are so used. And so when he said that, something ignited in my spirit. It stopped, and I said, "Good God Almighty, the one that is used the most would appear to be the favorite glove. But if you look at the condition of the glove, the one that we love the most, the one that we favor the most, is the most worn out." And so sometimes when we get broken, we take it as personal. But for you to be used and being touched and be molded and be broken in order to keep on building up, it means that somebody found favor in you. When we think about the gloves, we know it wasn't like they both looked alike. What made it favorite? Maybe one was already in position. The one that was closer to you grabbing was the one that they grabbed the most. That was the one that looked more favored. And so when I say God said I broke you to build you, is because he favored you. It means that in those positions when you had to show up when nobody else did, it was because you were standing there. So when he went to reach for somebody to show up, you were always the closest. You were always the most favorable. You was always the one that somebody was grabbing on. And so sometimes in life, we feel used. We feel not validated because of how many people who have grabbed on us or how many times we have felt broken. But there is favor in the grabbing. There is favor in looking washed up and used up. There is favor in being touched and being molded and being, put together. There is a favor in that. And so when you feel like life is always knocking you down, or you feel like God is always picking on you, I want you to change your perspective. I want you to see it as God is always picking you up. You know why he's always picking you up? He's always picking you up because he favors you. Because you happen to be in position. You happen to be pre-qualified for the role that he's been giving you. You happen to be that person. You happen to have that quality. You happen to have that thing with you. And so if you can allow God to break you sometimes in order for him to extract the goodness that is you, in order for him to see you, in order for him to show up in you, in order for him to actually mold you into your greatness, you got to be willing to be broken. You got to be willing to come back together again. You got to be willing to see what favor looks like. Favor is used. Your favorite shirt is probably the most used shirt because every time you get an opportunity, you go grab it. Your favorite shoes is probably the most used shoes because they're the most comfortable. And so when I was thinking about God had to break you to build you, it's saying that I value the process, that I'm no longer complaining, that I'm going to take the best out of this situation, that I'm always going to find joy, that I'm going to choose to look for the silver lining because that's what God is. He is the silver lining in everything. That's what you get to be, the silver lining in everything. And so we can be so calm to the world that we in, or we can choose to what? To create the world we want to live in. To say, there will be no excuses why I'm sitting in this place. There will be no excuses why I'm feeling like a victim. There will be no excuses for me to say, well, this is the life I've been given and this is what I'm going to do. No, I'm going to create that joy. I'm going to create that fun. I'm going to create that livelihood. And I'm going to be willing to be broken. And then I'm going to be willing to get built back up. Because I'm going to recognize that the building is what makes me royalty. The building is what makes me necessary. Because if I didn't know how important that function was, if I didn't know how important that thing that when it was working as one piece was, now I get to recognize it. Now I get to see the favor on my life. Now I can feel chosen. And so by changing that word in your head, it changes how you show up. If I feel like, guess what? I'm going to make the best out of this Thanksgiving, no matter what restrictions are put. I'm going to do what I can do with my restrictions. I'm going to create a new lane. I'm going to do what's never been done before. I'm going to be able to say that nobody was able to steal my joy. That's what it means to not allow the world to steal your joy. It means that I don't care what's going on. I get to create a sanctuary for me. I get to create a new norm for me. I get to show up in a way that only I can. Because why? Because I'm my own magic. And we all know that become your magic is what? The supernatural force that is you. And so, yes, I've been through some stuff. Yes, you've been through some stuff, but who cares? Because God broke us to build us. He wanted us to see what we possess. We didn't know because we were doing life as normal. How many people have been living life just redundant? And then this year made you sit back and really start to think about, what am I doing? It made me start to count the hours I was given. And so if in this place that we feel broken, in this season where we feel like we don't know, because when I think about this season, us feeling broken is because we have no answers. We don't know how to fix what's going on. We don't know what's going on. We don't have the answers. And we're all a little bit taken aback in different areas of our lives. The different areas that we probably are needing to focus on, the different areas that we needing to celebrate more, the different areas that we're needing to show up more in. And so that's the real question. Who are we? What are we doing? What has this pandemic made aware to us? How easy are we to bend? God is breaking you because you won't bend. He breaks us when we won't bend. We won't move. So you just got to snap, because when something is broken, it's because of a resistance, If I just said, if it wasn't resisting, then it would just be a cut. It'd be a slice. It'd be a bend. You'd be good. But that resistance makes it a snap. And sometimes we resist. We resist the ability to see something different. We resist the temptation to understand where we are. We operate in fear, and we operate in having to know everything, but yet we are faith-based. And I don't mean blind faith in a way where you just make decision based on just what you want. I'm talking about faith based on real understanding, faith based on real intention, faith based on real responsibility. Faith is saying that I have a responsibility to what I believe. And so I want us to be faithful even in this season, because we have a responsibility to still have positive mindsets. We have a responsibility to still expect the best. We have a responsibility to be making necessary plans due to where we are, due to what we're dealing with. We got to be honest even in our planning. We got to be real even in the process. And we got to be okay that what we were used to yesterday may not be what we're used to today, but you have the power to create a new norm. And you don't have to remove joy. You just have to supplement it in other ways. And so I want us to start to build a new tradition this year. Maybe that is not that you have to stay in, but maybe it's just a memory that's going to remind us of the times that life came in, that the storm came in and we showed up. That, like Melissa said, we had mustard seed faith. So we have to be very intentional about how we show up. We have to be very intentional about being broken. And then being intentional about getting the lesson and feeling back up and coming back together and functioning better than you ever did before. See, God is not breaking you to put you back together for you to be the same person. He broke you so that you can see the pieces, so that when he put you back together, you can know the power in your functionality. That you knew you had the power to choose every moment. That you knew that no matter what life brought your way, you can decide, well, you know what? If this is what I want, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to find another way to satisfy myself. I'm going to find another way to show up for myself. I'm going to find another way to bring joy in this season. I'm going to find something to be grateful for. Instead of finding things that we can find a million things to keep us down, but how many things are we finding to pick us up? Are we searching for things that's going to elevate us? Are we searching for the stories that's going to inspire us in this season? Maybe you don't need to hear all the negative stuff. Maybe you need to start looking at inspiration. Maybe it would renew your faith and hope in the process of being broken to be built up again, to remind us of what it requires. And so I think it's such a great season. I think it's such a great time for us to really, really, really understand that it is quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. Hello, Queen. I don't know if you're still on YouTube. Hello, Jay. Hey, how you doing, boo? I choose me. That's period, pull. Karen says, yes, rejoice in it all. I'm sure she was having, it was something that I was saying. Mustard seed, turn the pain into power, fill up on affirmations. Come on now. This is really about us being super grateful in this season. Super intentional about, what God is doing in a world when maybe a lot of stuff is going wrong, a lot of stuff is we just don't know. We're in a thankful season, but it's like, what are we thankful for? We need to be thankful for what we do have and not concentrate on what we don't have. Yeah, it's scary. We don't know when our next thing is coming, but honey, that's been a lot of people's reality. So just imagine. Just imagine this is a season for you, but this has been decades for somebody else. This may be a season for you, but this has been a lifestyle for somebody else, And so while some people are on edge, some people don't know it no different. This may be the best season of their life because of their ability to never get breaks or always working. And, you never took a time to enjoy what you were creating. And so I think that in this season that I think whatever each person individually needs to learn in order for God to break them and build them is what this whole butterfly transformation is all about. This whole isolation is all about. It's about you being able to recognize what you were created to do, how you are going to function, and what you can bring into this world. So maybe your quality of life at home needed to be adjusted before you moved into that season you were looking for. Maybe your quality at work need to be adjusted before you move into that season you were looking for. Maybe that quality in your love life needed to be adjusted before you were moving to that season that you were waiting for. Maybe God is preparing us for what we're asking for. We just don't know what it requires. And so, yeah, I can give you that gift, but if you don't take care of that first, that you won't even see that when I take you where I'm taking you. You think that's the most important, but this is the most important. And so Essential is teaching us in this season what's most important. We realize time with our family is most important. We realize laughter is most important. We realize fulfilling our dreams are most important. There are so many things that is realized in this season that we cannot take for granted. It's easy for us to talk about the loss, but I think we need to talk about the gains, the gains in the businesses that has flourished in the pandemic, the people who had realized just how much they were already holding, that oil that they were holding, right? And so it's like, live in your story. Be who you need to be. Grow in your lesson for this season. Teach what you need to teach, because it's all about impact and it's all about power. And so if we do all these things, oh my goodness, we become, because of vision. Sight is so beautiful. What is the vision that is you? That is the season that we're in. I choose me is saying, what is the vision that is me? What are the things that broke me that God is trying to build me up into? What are the valleys that become my mountaintop? What is the pain that becomes my power? What is it? What can I be doing in this time that doesn't consist of me pointing out the problems, but it does consist of me trying to create solutions? So what are you offering to bring somebody more peace? What do you know about yourself that may add to somebody else's life? What are you thankful for in this year? I can guarantee you that the things that you sit around this table and be thankful for on this Thanksgiving are going to be different than what you've heard in a long time. Because nothing breathes out faith, trust, understanding, and gratefulness like pain. Like a change of plan. Nothing makes you more aware than a shock to the system. And so I think that we as the world, we have been shocked in this time because we have been moving and going, but we haven't been intentional. And as I said, God is making that joke like the only person who's really going to celebrate a birthday this year is Jesus. You know why? Because the question is, while we are celebrating and we are partying and we're like, we this age, we're that age, we're this age, God is asking, well, what did you do? Not what do you have? But I have broken you there for you to send that message. And I built you back up and I ain't heard you open your mouth about it. I broke you over there for you to bring forth that message, and you got good and clean. You got the house, you got the car, and I ain't heard nothing about it. And so I think that because we are not showing up in the promise, we are missing the whole point of the transformation. You were a caterpillar once upon a time. And the beauty and the butterfly is being able to talk about the transformation. The beauty in the building is being able to talk about what you learned, about who you became, what you are becoming. And so you can put as many quality things, as many material things as you want on your list. But I can assure you, God is not checking neither one of those. He don't care about your promise. He's concerned about you sharing the process. He don't care about what you got out of it. He wants them to be aware of what it took for you to get to it. That's the evidence. That's the power in the breaking and the building. The process. What he extracted. Not what you got. Who cares about the house? Who cares about the car? Tell some people how you get to the house, how you get to the car, how you get to the peace. So what are you assigned to? Why did God break you in order to build you back together? What are you holding in that vessel? What should have been extracted from you? Why do we need to be isolated in this season? Why is God sitting us down? Why aren't we getting birthdays the way that we imagine? Because everybody's turning older. But what are we celebrating? What did we do? How much light is in the world? If we could sit down and we can't watch the news, and the question is, what are we doing? Are we being intentional with our lessons? Are we turning them into blessings? Are we showing up in assignment? Are we celebrating just the fact that we got breath? Or are we celebrating the quality of life? How we're showing up. Not that we're showing up. Not with what we have, but with who we are. Who are you? Who did God break you into being? Who are you? So we got to get out of the what and we got to get into the who. I Choose Me is fulfilling assignment. It is talking about the who I am because of all the things that broke me. But because I'm moving and I'm walking and I'm able, that means I'm functioning. That means God built me back. He completed me. I'm a full person. So why do I feel empty? Why do I feel lost? It's because I do not recognize that once I got put back together, I had more than I had before he started. And so those things that you've been through is what makes you greater, is what makes you better. It's what makes you favored. It's what makes you more qualified. Because the greatest of this is love. Treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. All the things that we quote, but I don't think we really understand it. Celebrate you. Show up for you. Love is kind. Love is this. Love is that. But you know what favor is? Favor is beyond the love. It's making the choices to show up in the new flesh, with a new mind, with a new outlook. My cup will always be half full. I could be at the end of a leg. I ain't giving it no power because it doesn't serve me. I ain't saying life is perfect. I ain't saying I don't have bills. I ain't saying I ain't trying to figure it out. Every day I come before you. But what I am saying is that what is perfect is what I know about myself. What's perfect is how many times I got up. What's perfect is our relationship. And so everything else and everybody else is extra. And that's what keeps me with joy. That's what I'm sure keeps you with joy. Is knowing personally what it took for you to be where you are today. Knowing personally how many times God had to break you to build you. To extract that power, that purpose, that position, that favored. So if you want to really be favored, you better be used to being broken. You better be used to being grabbed. You better be used to being touched. Because the favorite thing of anybody is used. And so if God can't use you, then you don't want to be favored. And if you're complaining about the levels that you had to go to be you and you're still here, then you don't know what favor really means. It means that he didn't overlook you. He grabbed you. He chose you to go through that because he favored how your perspective would be on the other side. He favored what you will offer to somebody because you became. He favored the joy that you would have because you showed up. So he favored you when he broke you to make you. He favored you when he took you through that stuff. That was favor, y'all. And so while we're sitting like we are not qualified, when God has already chosen us and favored us, but we just don't know that he also built us back up. And the way that he says that you can notice the new part that he built back up is by renewing your mind. Because the body will always do what the mind allows, what it believes. And so the question is, when we begin to renew our minds, what does favor really look like in our life? When we begin to show up in the promise, what does a pandemic world look like for somebody who has favor? What does it look like? What does a pandemic world look like for somebody who has trust, for somebody who has evidence, for somebody who is willing to transform into new tomorrows? Because if you're traveling, I can assure you that the scenery is always changing. And so until we're willing to go with changes and reinvent new things and create new ideas and think outside the box, we're going to miss the moment. We're going to miss our purpose. And most importantly, we're going to miss that God have built us back together, that we are actually whole. And he's waiting for us to renew our minds so that we can function in the new body, the new skin, with the new mind, because we're moving into a new day. So that we're not stuck in our feelings because today don't look like yesterday. I'm okay with today not looking like yesterday because we are always moving and we can't control what is, but we can control who we is in the moment. So who are you? That's the message for today. Who are you? Are you becoming your magic? Are you seizing the abracadabra moments? And do you realize that God said, I had to break you to build you? That's our Become Your Magic Power Hour for the day. Let's see what comments we have before we get to our I am, because you know how I am. I be focused. I be hearing God. And he has said a word to me today. I can't wait to go back and listen. I can't wait to go hear myself back. Hear God back. That's what I say. How did we get here? What did we do? Come on now. Yes. Hey, Nakia, pouring into others is so filling. It really is. It's promise. It makes you know that, hey, and when you pour into others, kid, where you're talking from? You're talking from your values. You're giving them affirmations because you're confident. Why? Because you were fearless once upon a time. You know how you were fearless? Because you're in this present state. And to be fearless is to do the things that make you uncomfortable. I am fearful because I'm not comfortable doing this thing. Why? But if I do the things that make me uncomfortable, then I become fearless. I become a God piece. I become intentional. I trust my vision. And so we have fear because we need co-signers, but God already co-signed us. So we don't need no co-signer. We need favor. Favor is in the brokenness. Come on now. Use me, God. I'm loving it. Oh, my. Star just went to church. Nakia says, must be a vessel to have a story of I survived and made it through, and so can you. And that's what everything is all about. I choose me as saying, guess what? Because I decided to love myself through that place, because I decided to see myself, because I decided to show up for me, I became the evidence. You know, because the lady with the woman with the issue of blood went to touch the hem of Jesus's garment is the reason why she was healed. And you know why somebody else went next? Because they saw her with her faith go and touch him and then say, I'm healed. So when you go through that spiritual journey where you are broken because you are actually being built for your assignment, for your endpoint, so he had to break you, you got to recognize that it was because, excuse me, of who I am. And then every time I shared that, I became the evidence like the woman with the issue of blood. It means somebody else went to God because you told him what you was able to do. Somebody else found him because you were the evidence of his truth, you know? And so are you the evidence of the truth? Are you a message? Are you a representation? Are you walking it like you're talking it? Are you being faithful over little so you deserve much? Come on. Did you bury your gift or did you multiply? The question is, what are you doing with who you are in order to understand the build that is you? What did he make you into? We need to learn and rejoice in our struggles because our struggles is what brings us into who we are. It is what makes us great. It's what sustains us. It's what builds our spiritual muscle. We are resilient by nature and born to survive. Apart or together, we can overcome and rise. I love that. It sounds like a poem. It sounds like the beginning of a poem, Melissa. Hunty, Nakia's having a good time. The message was fire. I'm so glad I had to break you to make you. You know, I love it. You know, as a poet, that is my favorite thing to do is create one word slogans. I said, if I wasn't this an author and a speaker and all that, I think I would be working at a marketing place writing jingles. I really think that would have been my other dream job, creating one line slogans to represent your brand. I really think that would have been one of the things I would have done. She reached out in faith, didn't she though? Didn't she reach out in faith? And so I think the pandemic is about us being faithful over where we are, being grateful in order to be faithful. That's it. You got to be grateful in order to be faithful. Because if I could be thankful for where I am and for what I went through, then I can have faith for what I'm dreaming for tomorrow. If I can be grateful for the breaking of me in order to be built, then I can be grateful, come on, for what's to come tomorrow. So now my gratefulness leaves me with more faithfulness. That's the cure. I am a bridge. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I love doing jingles too. Yes, you come up with those. I know those slogans. That's a part of me. Be grateful to be faithful. And so you know what? Before I do my card, I do want to do one poem because why not? I'm grateful. So we're gonna go in. Let's see what chapter we're gonna go in. We're going to read Stay Above the Water. It's on page 72. Hold on until your season. Hold on until your season is the chapter. This is this is Precious Thoughts from the Soul. You can find us at preciouspaulin.com. Like I said, page Stay Above the Water is what we're going to do on page 72. It just sounds like it would fit in our message for today before we get our IM. Look like we'll be a minute over, but I started 5 minutes late, so don't worry about it. Okay. Stay above the water. When it seems that life has dealt you a hand you cannot play, when it seems that good times roll so fast and troubled times just stay, keep your head above the water. When it seems you've done all you can do and there's nothing left to say, when it seems you spent the bulk of your time on your hands and knees to pray, keep your head above the water. When you're always asking, what did I do to deserve such pain? When it seems you had a life filled with short sun rays but much rain, keep your head above the water. When you cry so much you can't see straight, when you ask the Lord, is this my fate? Just keep your head above the water. For he always answers all our prayers at a time he sees just fit. So he can understand the faith you have and the ability not to quit, to go on strong with changing tides, to keep the Bible by your side. It keeps your head above the water. God takes you places that you may fear, but he won't take you through anything you cannot bear. So keep your head above the water. When it seems that troubled times always tend to last, listen to the voice that whispers, "This too, my child, shall pass." God tests his children to make us ready for the things he has in store. So when we are blessed with various things, we appreciate it much more. Just keep your head above the water, for your boat is coming soon, full of sunny days and smiling ways and flowers in full bloom. For God takes us to the water and keeps us neck high the whole way through. And when all is said and done, he has great things in store for you. I think that was a perfect poem for today's message that was everywhere but one place at the same time, right? I went all so many different places, but that is the joy of being whispered to by God. I am grateful. So very grateful. I just say these words are all approved by him. The reason why I know it is because it ain't written down. It is just a whisper. We are nothing more than God's whispers in this world. That is it. I don't even got enough cards to shuffle no more. It's we are almost done with the 52. So these are the ABCs of how special I am. If you are interested in maybe definitely ordering this game for the holiday season, the ABCs, I think every household should have this game. You can play it with the kids. You can play it as a family. You can play it with your girlfriends, your guy friends. I'm telling you, the ABCs of how special I am is so powerful. And with the direction, it'll tell you so many different ways you can play it. But right now, the way we use it is for God to always give us our I am that would transform or basically coincide with the message we just received. And so today we are talking about God said, "I broke you to build you." And so in this time, God, we ask that you would show us what it is that you want us to know about ourselves, that we should be saying every day, reminding ourselves of this I am as we are moving into this holiday season, as we're getting used to new norms, and as we're trying to not be afraid, but be intentional and have faith over where we are and make the proper decisions with where we're going. And so we know that we've been blessed by you. And so right now, God, we ask that you would touch us with an I am that would really be what we need in this season. And so let's go. Eyes closed, you guys. My eyes are always closed. And this is the card. And so here we go. Good God Almighty. Y'all don't want to see this card. No, the sound didn't go out. That was me letting you sit in the I am my yes. I am my yes. I think I want to say thank you, God, for giving us such an affirmation on today after what we've spoken about, after understanding that life is about what we create. It is the life we want. It is the choices that we make. It is the magic that we bring to every moment. It is the power that we know we possess. And so I am my yes means that nobody can rob you of your joy. Nobody can rob you of your peace. And most importantly, nobody can rob you of your assignment. And so if you've been broken, and God had the opportunity to build you back because you recognize that there were some things that weren't functioning the way they should have. That's why God has broken us in this season, because there are some things that are functioning and they are not functioning in the proper way. And so we are not retrieving or receiving the nutrients that is required for us to move and function and feel like we are whole, like we are complete. And so right now, I say that you write in I am my yes. And that from this day forward, that you remind yourself anytime you feel less than, anytime you feel you need a cosigner, anytime you feel that you need to be doing something more or doing something less, that you recognize that you are your yes. You are a broken piece that was put back together by the master, which makes you a masterful God piece. And so if you would honor his secret, if you would honor those that insight, those conversations that you have with you, that is really you talking to God. That is what makes us crazy for God, because the voice we hear is our own. But the soul of us is God. That is the perfect peace that we possess. That is the thing that is morphing through all these imperfect experiences. And so I just want to say that if you would show up in your yes, you can make this season, this Thanksgiving, better than any Thanksgiving that you've ever had. Because it's more than just the food. It's more than just the people, but it's the intention. And so you can carry that intention right into this season. You can carry that thought right into every day. That it is not what you have, but who you are that makes you the yes of God. And so I want you to remember it is a relay race, and somebody is relying on you to turn your heartbeat into a soul beat in order to leave a soul print. Because the fingerprint, it tells us what we got wrong in this world, but the soul print, it tells us what we got right. And what God got right is you. And so I want to celebrate you for tuning in and spending this power hour. You have been plugged in to the Become Your Magic Power Hour with the Queen of Soul Stirring Inspiration. If you need any books, any abracadabra tools, please go to preciouspaulin.com. I Choose Me Bling Boutique. If you just want to send a love offering, please $P words. I make every penny with everything I sell. So if I don't sell nothing, I ain't making nothing. I'm a businessman. So remember that when you're enjoying and you're receiving, remember that I give to receive and you give to receive too. That is the circle of life. And so we show up how we can to make a difference in the areas that God allows us to. And that's what makes you your yes. So I love you guys. I'm so grateful to have you on. I will see you guys tomorrow at 12 p.m. right here. Take care of those souls. Rethink your Thanksgiving. If you're used to traveling and you're not, take my advice. Maybe start a thing. Maybe go live. Invite your family on. Maybe go on Zoom and go in that room with all of your family that you're used to being around on Thanksgiving. Maybe cook at home together. Share recipes this year. Create quality time and not quantity time. Y'all heard me? Create quality time and not quantity time. It's not how many people are there. It is the presence and the power of the people that are there. That's what we got to remember. I am my guest. So remember, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So it is your responsibility to stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. I'm going to go back and check everybody's messages. Since I'm over 10 minutes, I'm going to be clear. I'm going to go back, but I love you guys. I see you guys. I celebrate you guys. I am my guest, saved from the mountaintop. And hopefully I will see you guys later in the Bling Boutique. But let me tell you, honey, this life is full over here. I done hired myself and listen, I'm like, where is the time going? But I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. Most importantly, I am creating a quality life and not a quantity life. And I urge you to do the same. See you guys later. Yes, thank you, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, Melissa. Get your fried or smoked turkeys. $Ron Paulin, or you can go to the website, or you can message me and we can make it happen. Or if you're out of state, you can buy that flour. $25 includes the flour, the shipping, and you can use that all month and you can get that same flour at home. So fry some chicken if you can't fry a turkey. Love you too. Love you, love you. Thank you, thank you. Don't forget to put your I am my yes and mean it. Don't just say it. Mean it, because knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is transformation. Love you guys. Take care of your souls. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.